Hey everyone, Joe here. Welcome back to part 3 of the Mixing a Metal Song from Start to Finish series. In this part 3, we're going to be doing some mix bus processing. So we're going to be getting out those plugins and just focusing on the mix bus itself, which is going to affect the entire mix. Now, what this does, doing mix bus processing first before you dive into each individual instrument, it helps you make a lot of progress in a short amount of time. It's very rewarding. And it helps guide your mixing decisions later on. We're just going to be making some quick, subtle changes to help boost that confidence and also help with any really obvious problems with the mix from the get-go. So if you don't already have your mix bus set up, I did go over the setup in part 1, but it's just an auxiliary bus that you're putting all of the other tracks and buses through. So any audio that you've got that is going to go through that mix bus. So any changes you make to the mix bus, any plugins you add, it's going to affect the entire mix. So we want to keep things subtle because, you know, even just a dB boost on an EQ is going to be like boosting by a dB on every single track. So we do want to keep things subtle. It's just to get things sort of under control and get things sounding nice right from the get-go. And let's just highlight a section where we can hear all of the tracks in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play, have a think about what it needs. And there are normally 3 plugins that I tend to use on the mix bus. Some tape saturation, a tape emulation plugin, some subtle EQ tweaks, and again, some subtle compression across the whole track just to kind of glue things together. But let's hit play. And then I think I'm going to be bringing in that tape saturation first. Beware of fire, I breathe. Press the pedal, let go of fear. It's a great day to die your will. No one, no longer can ever beat my ass. Danger in pain. So what this does, this Kramer tape, it just adds some extra harmonics. It kind of glues it together, and this is kind of a bright sounding one. It gives it a little bit of brightness, which I quite like actually. I'm gone quite subtle. I'm going to hear the difference between the 2 IPS settings as well, and then we can compare it on and off. Try to catch me. A bit warmer on the 7.5 inch. I breathe. Press the pedal, let go of fear. It's a great day to die your will. Okay, and then I'm going to get the EQ out. I'm going to try and stick to some stock plugins just to show you that it doesn't really matter what plugin you use. It's more, as in brand, it's more about the type and how you use it. I'm going to cut some of that unwanted low end off right from the bat. We don't need anything below 30 hertz. It's just rumble. You can't really hear it. It's just low end energy, and it's not needed even on the kick and bass. Press the pedal, let go of fear. It's a great day. And then there's a kind of bit of muddiness around the low mids. Yeah, there. I think that's particularly on the bass. So let's just take a couple of dB off of that. Try to catch me. Beware of fire. I breathe. Okay. Press the pedal. Let go of fear. It's a great day. Yeah, I think that's all we need for now on this track. And then I'm going to go for the Waves R-Comp, nice smooth compressor. And I've got a preset that I've made myself for the mix bus, just 2.1 ratio. Quite a slow attack. It's a great day to die your will. No one, no longer can ever. Just smoothing off those peaks. We don't want to be able to hear this compressor. as if like it's obviously pushing transients down. A little bit of gain, makeup gain. Okay, yeah, and for every plugin that we use, we're going to be adjusting the makeup gain as well. So if the compressor is reducing the overall level of the signal, which this is slightly, we want to be bringing that makeup gain up by however much it was reduced by, so that there's no bias, like we're not hearing things. Because if you hear something that's louder, it often sounds better. But we just want to be comparing the actual effect that the plugin's having. So that's all I'm going to do with the mix bus. Again, keeping things subtle, and then in the next part we're going to be going into each individual instrument. Let's just have a quick listen on and off those 3 plugins.
Keep in mind, your place is far behind. Demon Racer got into the fight. Try to catch me.
So again, it's quite a subtle change, just sort of tightening up that low end, giving it a kind of bit of cohesiveness, the sound, and also smoothing things out before we go into more heavy compression for the individual tracks. It's sounding good so far, got a little bit more clarity and things are sounding a little bit smoother. In the next part 4, we're going to be diving into each individual instrument. So we're going to be going through a basic mix of the drums, bass, guitars, vocals, everything. I'm going to be getting out the EQs and compressors and everything, and you'll be able to see exactly what I do, and I'll be explaining my decisions as we go. So hit that subscribe button, make sure you don't miss that next part, and let me know in the comments section below, is there a particular instrument that you struggle when you're mixing metal or rock? Is there a certain instrument that you really struggle with getting to sound right in the mix? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in part 4.